Hello everybody, it's Scott here for another Minecraft modded episode. On this one we're obviously doing part 2 of the mod spotlight for refined storage, or I would like to say as well the DLC kind of version of Reborn Storage, I believe it's called. So essentially this is an add-on to a certain extent to refined storage. What it allows for is auto-crafting and auto-processing. Obviously something I was saying that we're going to cover on this episode and the previous episode. So we might as well get started then. So what you're probably wondering right now is, what is this? Now this is an empty shell for our processing, our auto-crafting machine. So obviously what we'll need is some heat conductors, some crafting frames, and some other objects as well which need to go inside it. As you see, there's quite a few of them, so the heat conductors need to be on all sides, and obviously, as the saying goes, the crafting frame needs to go on the outside. Obviously it's quite expensive, so a lot of machine casing you're going to need, basic process and silicon, and a heat conductor then obviously requires 4 more crafting frames, quartz, enriched iron and silicon. Obviously they're not hard materials to get, but you just need a lot of them. As you can see, we've done a 5x5x5 setup here, which allows us to have, what is it, 3x3x3 inside it. And what's going to go inside here are 2 objects, a crafting CPU and a crafting storage. Now the reason why you would need them if you want to auto-craft things is the CPU is the speed at which the actual items are crafted, and how many you can do at a time, so how fast they do. The crafting storage is how many different crafting patterns you can have in this machine. So what we may as well do then is, I've already prepped it, as you can see. We might as well just place them here. Oh god. Ooh. Right. So here's a bunch of crafted CPUs. If you're wondering what you need for it, a couple of speed upgrades, crafting table, some more crafting frames, and a couple of advanced processors. Obviously you're going to need a lot of diamonds again, but as I mentioned before in the previous episode, it is kind of mid to end game. This is more end game, because obviously if you then move on to other mods that require a lot of crafting, basic to the mid tier to late tier items, this is the machine you're going to want to have, you see, because it's going to save so much time. Obviously we've seen that, and then crafting storage, more crafting frames, and like I mentioned in the previous episode, these 1K storage parts. And you're going to need a lot of them, you see. So 3 for each block. So very, very expensive. But as I said, if you're already at end game, it's not going to cost too much. So let's fill this in. And then we'll just fill the final bits in. And let's see. Boom. Now, if you right click on it, you'll now see, obviously those 13 CPU blocks we put in there, saying how many we've got. And the 14, what was it? The crafting storage. So that will give us 14 pages of storage, which is great, but obviously quite empty at the moment. So what we're going to do then is we're going to hook it up to our controller. As you see, it's all hooked up now, and let's just see if it's actually hooked up properly. As you can see the heat conductors there now, and if we scroll down, crafting frames, crafting storage, as you can see, each one of those blocks costs 1 FE per tick. So it's going to cost a lot more now to power this network. So obviously costing 135 FE per tick now, or RF per tick, and it's obviously eating away our energy already, which is a bit worrying. So obviously we're going to have to be quite quick with this. Look, it's going down so quickly. So now you're probably thinking, well, what do we put in here? Now, that's where the pattern grid comes in. Obviously that is refined storage. So how do we do that? How do we make a pattern grid? Okay, so advanced processor, a pattern, and the standard grid. Obviously we've already made a grid before, the pattern itself, 3 quartz enriched iron, some obviously glass, and 3 bits of redstone. Not very expensive at all. So as you can see, we've already made that. So what do we have here then? All the items in our inventory, and these little selection boxes down here. So what we're going to need to do is create some blank patterns. I'll just go to my other network and create some, you see. Boop. Oh, we ran out of quartz enriched iron. Let's just make some more. You can probably see this in action now. One I've already made earlier. See what you'll see? Show you as a crafting preview what we've got available and if we can start it. And you can see it's doing it away quite quickly. Right. So what we're going to then do is put these in here. And then say if we want to, I don't know, create a simple furnace. How would you make that? It's obviously, you'd make use 8 cobblestone. It's obviously not, as you can see, it's not using any of the cobblestone we've got. And there you go. So, okay. As you can see, it says create. Now it says the pattern's obviously 1 times furnace. That's great. If you hold shift on the keyboard, you'll be able to see the icon for it as well. Isn't that nice? So what we'll now do, we'll just put this in here, left click, and now what we should be able to see is there's an option where it says craft, or in the crafting grid. You see display no craftables, only craftables. We want to see that. So if you click on that, how many do we want? Okay, so we want 2. It will say, as shown before, how many we're going to craft if we have them available, and we'll start it. There you go. Easy as. And you're probably thinking, well, that's not that exciting. It's only a furnace, Scott. But think about it. There's might be objects where there's multiple different levels of items, and you could basically create patterns for all of them, and it will do it automatically for you, which is absolutely amazing. And you know what? I think we're going to run out of power. See? Right, what we're going to have to do then is quickly run over to the other room where we did the thermal expansion mods, and hopefully, yes, that's wonderful. Okay, we'll just put you here for the moment, and we'll pick this other one up. It's amazing how quickly that ran out, actually. Right, back to the task in hand. Bump, and all out. Wonderful. See, it's still going down there very quickly there as well. Absolutely crazy. So as I mentioned, you're going to need a lot of energy if you want to use this. But by that point, you should probably have a load of magmatic engines doing their things, generating a lot of energy, or even one of your environmental cross solar arrays. It will cover this quite easily. So the next bit then will be, well, that's all great, Scott. We can craft items. But what if we want to actually create items, or furnace, say, like glass? We've got a bunch of sand here, but how does that work then? Okay, so what you would then do is if you go for one, but then you'd need glass to put into the other one, and then you create it. Obviously we have no glass here at the moment, which is unfortunate, but what we can do, I shall show you my slightly more exciting build back at my base. It will kind of blow your mind, guys. It really will. So there's my pattern grid, and let's have a look. Only craftables. As you can see, there's a lot of things I can craft automatically now. One of the things would be obviously all your storage parts, which would make life a lot easier if you already have the patterns for them, you see. And here's my beast of a multi-block crafter. And we've got loads of different items. So if you were to, say, want to craft some glass, you wouldn't put the pattern in here. What you would do is you'd put it in an interface. So that goes back to refined storage again, you see. Or I think it's an interface or a crafter, one of the two. So there you go. That's how you make that. And then you have an interface. I think they may have changed the settings. What do I? Oh, it is a crafter. My mistake. So essentially what you do is you'd face it where you need it to output. and then you put those patterns in here. As you can see, we've got some 1 clay for 1 brick, 1 more raw basic processor and 1 processor, and then obviously composite. What it will do, because obviously I need to process a lot of them, you can have it automatically next to a furnace and it will automatically do that and then pull it out. Whereas I've got a bit of a buffer. If I need to manufacture loads of them, thousands of them at the same time, you know, one good example is the processors. It will get put into here, and then these conduits will then suck them out and then put it in here, doing a round robin, putting it equally into these furnaces, and it will automatically import them back in. And the nice thing about this autocrafter as well is it will see that you have the stuff you put in and the stuff you got out is accurate, so then it will finish doing its thing. You can obviously create a crafting monitor. I mean, I rarely use that if I'm honest. As you can see, it's not particularly difficult to make. A couple of patterns, 3 bits of glass, machine casing, a couple of improved processes, and a quartz enriched iron. I rarely use that purely because it's just not great if I'm honest. Right, so yeah, that's pretty much it really with the auto crafting and processing aspect of things. What we can do is show you it in action on a larger scale. So as an example, imagine if I wanted to create, I know what I can do, a Reborn Storage. So in the previous episode we talked about storage sizes, and it went to 1 to 4 to 6 to 16. Let's have a look. God, I can't remember even now. I think it was 16, wasn't it? 4, 16, and yeah, and then 64 bits if I remember rightly. Yeah, so on the Reborn, that download or DLC sort of thing, you can go all the way up to 16,384 storage disks. Now, as you can see, you need a lot of items there. It kind of goes back. Now, imagine you're having to actually try and manually craft these items. Oh, it'd be absolutely horrendous. So, what we've done here, as you probably saw before, all the different crafting storage parts. So now instead of having to manually craft them, I can craft the top tier one, and it will basically go through crafting all the other lower items, and then it will craft a higher item, a higher disc, like say 1 to 16, 1 to 4 to 16, and it'll do it automatically. So why not? Let's do it now then, shall we, guys? Let's have a look. Reborn. Right, no, we want the highest tier one, please. And what it will do is, as you can see, it can check to see if you've got enough items available. 13,000. Well, that's quite a lot, right? And it's saying how many of these you need to craft, how many of these you need to craft. Let's do it. Now this is going to take about 3 minutes, even with all these items, and we'll slow down the server a little bit. What we can do is obviously see it doing its thing there. See, it's processing all them, processing these. Wonderful, right, guys? But it's obviously scheduling all these, so it's going to obviously take a while to do that. So unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to see that for the time being. What we can do, though, since I've already got one here early, it's not being filled up, we can go back over to the training base, and I can show you, and we can put it into the other disk drive. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Ow. Lovely jubbly. Right. How much is that? Wow. Ooh. So it's probably used about 5/6 of it. About 1/6 of it so far. So you can see it's 26% full because we've only got 3 1K discs. If we put this in here now, wow, look at that. 0% full. Oh, look, it's doing another update already. So now we can put loads of stuff in here and not have to worry about it running out of space, as it were. So anyway, guys, that was how to essentially auto-craft, auto-process items. If you have any questions, drop me a comment. Obviously, if you like the video and subscribe if you can as well for me, guys. Until next time, have a great day. Okay, see you later. Bye.